states that we've seen. The Sahel Alliance have a new bank, and I believe that this bank might be the reason why there is an acceleration of activity against the Sahel states that we've seen over the past few months coming from France, the US, and so on and so forth. Obviously, as you know, recently, Saif Gaddafi, the son of Gaddafi, was assassinated in Zintan, Libya. At the same time, in a previous video, which you might have come to this video from, I told you how a military operation codenamed Flintlock 2026 that is happening in Libya in March might have played a role, or at least benefits greatly from the elimination of Saif Gaddafi. Now I want to connect the dots here to Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso of the Sahel states, because I said that Sirte, creating a military base there by the US, gives the US a stronghold at a border area of Niger, or makes it very easy to strike Niger from that range if they have a military base in Libya, which is directly above Niger. And this bank situation, and I'm going to go in because I've got my data sheets with me, is very, very important information. Details that I wasn't even aware of till I started looking into this particular video. And when you see this information, you understand how this is essentially a high-level heist that we're witnessing here of one of the biggest economic moves that Africa has made in many, many generations. Okay? Welcome to the channel, guys. This is the Merc. I talk about Africa and the diaspora, all things to do with Africa and the diaspora, Africa's past, present, and future. I try to connect dots with Africa's ancient history, things that we weren't taught in schools, as well as current affairs and politics, and looking into the future. Make sure that you are subscribed and also signed up to my podcast and newsletter linked in the description. And also hit the hype button. There's a hype button if you're watching this on YouTube, which is very important for pushing my videos out. It's a new feature on YouTube that shows your appreciation for the content that you're watching. So definitely give the thumbs up, give a like, comment, and definitely hit the hype button to make sure that this video gets pushed out to as many people as possible. The launch date was on December 23rd, 2025. This was only a couple of months ago. The AES ministers met in Bamako to officially activate the Confederation Bank for Investment and Development, BCID, AES, okay? Now, the capital, the opening capital is 500 billion CFA. 500 billion CFA, approximately 895 million USD. Now, the importance of this number that you're hearing, huge number, almost $1 trillion. This is not a pledge. This is not a pledge, guys. This is subscribed capital from member states. Remember that Niger has uranium and gold. Burkina Faso has gold and uranium. Mali has a lot of gold. So the amount of money I'm talking to you about, about almost $1 trillion, is subscribed capital, is actual capital. That is enormous to begin that way. This is not what you're going to make over the next per annum or what you're going to be subscribing to every year. This is what is available to that bank right now. The headquarters, the bank is headquartered in Niamey, Niger. And this is the critical. The money sits in the country that the West is essentially trying to isolate, which is Niger. That's a problem. The fact that the headquarters is in the country that is most targeted now is a problem. Now, the anti-CFA mechanism, now the CFA franc, it's a video that you should go and watch my video, The Franc Zone, which explains the CFA franc, which is how France controls 14 West African countries through this currency called the CFA. The BCID, this new bank, is designed to bypass the BCEAO, Central Bank of West African States, which has the CFA, utilizes the CFA, and it allows Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to fund infrastructure without French Treasury approval. Wow. Guys, can you give these guys a round of applause just for the initiative? I can't because I'm holding the camera. Give Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger a round of applause for this kind of initiative that nobody's reporting on except on my channel and some other places. How is this not broadcast everywhere? Look at the power moves these guys are making. Okay, the sovereignty quote. At the launch, Malian Finance Minister Aluseni Sanon, let me take a seat here, guys, so I can actually, give me a second. Let me put on my lights. Oh, the light isn't working. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can hold it here. All right, yeah, I can hold it here. Good. All right, give me a second, guys. Let me give you some more info out here so that my hand doesn't get too tired. There we go. There we go. All right, so Malian Finance Minister Aluseni Sanon declared this the end of financial colonization. Wow. And the collateral shift, the 895 million isn't debt. It's backed by the new 2025-2026 mining codes adopted by Mali and Burkina Faso. The Mali law, August 2025, Mali's new code increased state and local ownership in mining projects from 20% to 35%. And in July 2025, Captain Traore's government in Burkina Faso raised the state's free stake to 15% and mandated that mining companies open capital to local investors. On February 7, 2026, Niger's government announced the full nationalization of the Sommet uranium mine, kicking out the French nuclear giant Orano. I told you about that. That was actually a very, very big move. When they kicked out Orano, Niger did, because that really put pressure on France. Because Orano, France's energy company, had been operating out of Niger for decades, and they provide 30% of France's power. So to lose that was astronomical, especially because Niger then started moving those interests to Russia and China. That's a problem. So not only are you taking it away from us, you're giving it to your enemies, or to our enemies in France's interests and US interests. That was a big deal, okay? Now, as of January 30th, 2026, satellite imagery confirms that a massive convoy of uranium, yellow cake, it's called yellow cake, is stuck at Niamey Airport, blocked from leaving the country. The next video connected to this video, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you about that, because this is the reason why, you see, whenever Africans try to stand up for themselves, you get punished. This is one of the punishments because Niger's uranium is being held hostage. The international community, including France, US, whatever, are preventing Niger from selling their own uranium because they've refused to give it to France. I'll tell you about that in the next video, but let's keep focusing on this bank situation. So, that thing is stuck at Niamey Airport, but on Monday, February 2nd, Russian foreign intelligence, which is what I told you about, already put out the formal statement warning that France, Macron, has authorized covert operations to eliminate undesirable African leaders. That, again, is freely publicly available information. I did not make that up. I'm not making accusations. It's the Russian Secret Service, SVR, that made that accusation. But the statement specifically named Ibrahim Traore and Assimi Goita as the priority targets. Can you see the connection here, guys? Because of what is happening with this bank. Now, there was a failed coup attempt already in Ouagadougou on the 3rd of January, which was intended to neutralize Traore. That didn't work. And SVR, the Russian, what do they call it, intelligence people, are claiming that what do they call it? Where is it? That the West is using Ukrainian drones and instructors partnered with local terrorist groups to carry out these hits without using Western troops. I don't even know whether that's true, because remember, when they took out Saif Gaddafi, they disabled the cameras. So we don't even know what happened over there. And the thing you've got to think about, guys, is that when you disable cameras, it means you don't want to be seen. But if you're just insurgents, why would you not? Because we know how these guys, Islamic fundamentalists, operate. They film everything. They put everything on tape. So it makes no sense that they wouldn't tape this and want everybody to see it. Why would they take off the cameras unless they do not want you to know who they are? Because if you know who they are, you're not going to be who you think it is. Think about it, folks. It's not rocket science. Now, as of January 5th, reports are confirming that the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline, worth $25 billion, is financially fragile and stalled. The Transatlantic Saharan Gas Pipeline, TSGP, cannot exist without Niger. So if Niger stays in the AES, Europe loses control of the gas tap.
So you're telling me I can straighten my teeth in as little as 4 to 6 months from just £38 a month?
Yeah.
Niger is critical for it. So Niger is critical for multiple reasons. That's the reason why it has now become a fight to the death to get Niger back. On January 30th, 2026, armed assailants, like I said, well, actually, this is a different situation, attacked Niamey Airport where the uranium is stored. General Tiani credited Russian partners for repelling the assault in 20 minutes. Who attacked them? Who attacked them? The AES now controls a contiguous land block from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean via their alliance with Haftar's Libya. This cuts France off from its former Franco-Free colonies in the south. But Haftar, we can see, is now moving himself back, or rather moving himself squarely with his Western allies, the United States and France, through his son Saddam, something I told you in the previous video, which is what has been reported. So the SVR reports, which is what the Russian intelligence put out, believes that time is running out. Before the AES Bank becomes fully resolvent later in 2026, this kill list is their last card. Guys, are you afraid yet? Rewind the video if you're confused as to what I just told you. Are you scared yet, guys? It's a zero-sum game now, folks. Guys are playing for keeps now because they cannot let that bank become solvent. If that bank becomes solvent, it's over, because then the AES has money to blow for the wind. They'll be spraying people in parties like Nigerian parties. You know when they're spraying people with money in Nigerian birthday parties, weddings? That's how they're going to be spraying money in Ouagadougou and Niamey. That's how they're going to be spraying money in the AES if that bank becomes solvent. It's a race against time now. I told you in the previous video about Flintlock 2026, that's March. The bank is already in effect. It went into effect in December. They're not yet solvent. They're going to get solvent in the next few months if they're allowed to do so. When they're allowed to do so, God forbid anything happens to them. We just need to keep ourselves informed, learn the history, learn the present situation, context, and look to the future about what moves are getting made. That's why you're on the channel, guys. The hottest channel on the internet for Pan-Africans, right here. Hit the hype button, because I just connected a lot of dots for you. Show your gratitude by hitting the hype button, guys. Because in the next video that is going to be linked right here, I'm going to show you the hostage situation of Niger's uranium that is currently happening in the Niamey airport, where Niger's uranium is being prevented from exiting that airport and being sold as retaliation for Niger trying to take control of their own resources.